Hey everybody, Mike Iaconelli back out here in the shop, and I want to talk to you about a cool little modification that I make on a little buzzbait, a little 1/8 ounce or 1/4 ounce buzzbait that really lets you fish the bait a little differently. I love buzzbait fishing. From the spring all the way through the late fall, this is an awesome bait because it's a topwater, you can cover tons of water with it, and it does a great job of imitating bait fish, shad, little bluegill, alewife, whatever it is. You know, a little buzzbait is great out of the pack, but just a little tiny modification can really let you work this bait slower, give it a more natural appeal, and it really lets you change little subtle tones of the bait just by changing the trailer. Let's start with the buzzbait. A lot of good 1/8 to 1/4 ounce buzzbaits out there. This is one of my favorites. This is the Mullex Lover. This is the Mini Buzz SS. Super squeaky. And take it out of the pack, and I want to show this buzzbait to you because it's a little bit different. I know it looks like an 1/8 of an ounce, but it's actually a 1/4. It fishes like an 1/8, but it weighs a 1/4 of an ounce. You're going to be able to cast it more. The Mullex SS Mini Buzz, listen to this. It's got a rivet on it. See that little copper thing that's got little grooves on it? That thing is riveted it, so it actually makes a squeak right out of the pack. Super sharp hook, super realistic flat head, great colors. But here's the other thing that's unique about the Lover Buzz SS, the Mini Buzz. It's an inline design. You know, most buzz baits are safety pin design, where the blade comes down, makes a 90, and goes to another wire to the bait. With this one, it's the same wire, but it just has a little crook down. So it's more of an inline design. That inline design is going to help you run this bait true, and it's going to rise to the surface a lot quicker. Dude, you can smash them right out of the pack. But here's the modification that I make. It's super simple. The Mullex Lover Mini SS has a hand-tied skirt. So all I do is I'll get my scissors, or I'll just pull it apart with my fingers, and I cut off all that skirt material. I want to get rid of that entire silicone skirt. And what I'm left with is the Mini Buzz without a skirt. There it goes right there. You notice the other great thing about this head design is there's opposing keepers on this head. There's one on the bottom, there's one on the top. These tiny little barbs are going to really help keep that plastic in place. Now is the beauty of this modification is I'm going to add a plastic trailer to help keep this bait high, to help change the profile of the bait, and to help really tune it in to the presentation that I want. I'm going to show you 3 of my favorites, but listen to me. You can throw any kind of trailer on the fly and really change this up. Let's start with when you want a bigger, subtle profile. And a lot of times if there are needlefish, if there are blueback herring or herring species, they travel very straight and true. They don't make a lot of crazy commotion. A skipjack or a herring travel very straight. And one of my favorite baits to put on it when I'm imitating herring, or I want a more subtle profile, is just a fluke style bait. This is a Berkeley power bait. This is a power jerk shad. And the great thing about this is I can modify this to the size of the bait fish. In fisheries that have blueback herring, those herring are really long. Same thing with needlefish or skipjack. They're really long. So I'll keep it full size. And all I'm going to do is I'm going to thread it on that little 1/4 ounce Mullex SS, and I'll get just a little tiny dab of my super glue. I'll put a little super glue on there to help keep it attached, and then I'll thread it up, and now I've got this buzzbait with this long profile fluke style tail. The great thing about all that plastic is it's buoyant. It helps let you fish that bait slow on the top, and it won't sink down. It keeps it high up. Again, the other thing, look at the length of that profile. Really is great at imitating a long bait fish. Makes this buzzbait a little more subtle. My next little plastic modification after I rip the skirt on is something in between. You know, a lot of times post-spawn, a lot of times early fall, you don't want something straight as an arrow and subtle, and you don't want something crazy. You want something moderate. If I'm trying to imitate regular shad, I'm talking about gizzard shad, threadfin shad, they have a little more movement. If you've ever seen a shad in the water, a lot of times they do that little flicker around the shad spawn, they're around docks, they're dancing, so there's a little more action. They're not running straight, they're doing a little bit more. And in that case, one of my favorites is, believe it or not, the good old Pitboss. And this is a Berkley Power Bait 4-inch Pitboss. They got a lot of great colors. This is one of my favorites for imitating shad. It's called Skeet's Chartreuse Shad. And this is a 4-inch bait. Same thing. I got my little mini SS. There's that beautiful sound. And all I'm going to do is thread this 4-inch Pitboss on there. I'm going to go down, keep the bait nice and straight. I'm going to get my super glue. I'm going to put a little dab of super glue on the head. Finish shredding that bait up. And there we've got that little tiny 1/8 or 1/4 ounce buzzbait now with a Pitboss on the back. Great thing about this, once again, look at all that plastic. Keeps it very buoyant, keeps it near the top, and that Pitboss has that subtle little flap that's perfect when the fish are moderately active or you're trying to imitate just, let's say, regular shad, threadfin, gizzard shad, something like that. Another great little modification. Last but not least, I want to show you one of my final baits that I'm going to thread on the back of this. And this really does totally change the action of the bait. And I do this when I really want to make a lot of commotion, when I want to add to the noise of that squeak and really make a lot of splash in the back. So when the fish are active, low light, first thing in the morning, at nighttime, in the evening, or especially in the heat of the summer when it's hot, this is the trailer I use. And this is the Berkley Power Bait Chigger Bug trailer. You know, once again, a lot of colors. I like to match the color to the bait. This is called Ike's Green Pumpkin Blue Flash. And it's a pretty light bait when you look at it. It's got green pumpkin on the top with a little blue metal flake, but on the back, look at that white pearlescent color. It's gorgeous. It's beautiful. And last but not least, I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to thread this bait right through the middle of the bait, push it down, make sure it's nice and straight, get my super glue, super glue that shank of that hook, thread it up. Look at that beauty. And without even doing anything, you can see how awesome that's going to be in the water. You can see all that extra action because that bait has these big giant legs in the back. It's going to help keep that bait riding straight on the top. It's going to help engage the lift because there's more plastic, there's more buoyancy. And with all that extra tail, double tail in the back, you're going to have a squeak in the front and you're going to have a kick in the back. If you love to fish buzzbaits and topwaters like I do, fishing out of the pack's okay, but try this modification where you pull the skirt off and change the trailer depending on the conditions and depending on the forage. Give it a try. I guarantee you're going to catch a lot of big fish. Mike Iaconelli talking about a modified buzzbait out here in the shop.